dogs? Yeah! Happy Comic Book Day and welcome back, all you four-color funny book aficionados. This is US Comics Cast, HQ for all things comic book connected. We are John and Charlie Rivera, and we are coated in Canadian wildfire dust. But we're also the co-founders of US Comics. Charlie, happy smoke-filled comic book day.
And happy comic book day to you and to everyone listening and watching today. As always, we were brought to you by Bad Mary Band and Sergeant Finesse Gaming. If you haven't done so already, please attack that comment section like you're being chased at breakneck speeds by an alternate version of yourself that's bigger, stronger, and let's be honest, slightly cooler than you. Johnny boy, we have gone, we have come, I know what I said, and we have gone again to the SpiderVerse, by all accounts, far mightier than the multiverse. We, of course, when we talk multiverse, when we talk SpiderVerse, we cannot leave out our favorite unofficial sponsor, and that, of course, is Joker's Stream.
Hell yeah.
If you haven't checked him out, he, of course, is a tremendous streamer. More about him at intermission. What is going on,
What's up,
Joker Stream?
What is up?
John, I'm going to kick it right away. You and I
Get
got
to kicking,
see
son. Bruce Lee, kick it
across
up.
the Spider-Verse together. Miles Morales is back. Never has had any character, in my opinion, had a bigger glow-up. Not even the damn Guardians of the Galaxy, who I'm still in the afterglow of that tremendous trilogy wrapping up. We got part two of Spider-Verse shenanigans right out the gate, John. I'm going to ask you the most important question. Do you recommend Across the Spider-Verse, or are you wrong?
Oof, my goof. I mean, there are certain questions that come to you that you really have to kind of like weigh, like a real Sophie's choice. I'm not exactly sure. How do I approach this? This ain't one of them, dude. This movie, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, is a no-brainer. This is gambling with house money. This is just anyone who goes and watches this flick in good faith. I do want to put that stipulation out there, in good faith, and they can honestly say to you, nah, I didn't like it, just smack them across the mush. Like they're just either a liar or they're too stupid in which to continue that conversation. Folks, life is short. Why waste it arguing with no-nanettes? Don't do it to yourself. Charlie, I fucking loved it, and I apologize now. I don't remember if I apologized at any point, but I'll apologize now for all of the elbows that I threw into my poor brother Charlie's. Charlie's bruised up like the recently departed Tina Turner in the midst of her Ike days, man. My guy got beat to hell. Oh, the Sarge! The Sarge is checking into. Sarge coming up off of his deathbed right now. Sarge got ripped up at the VA dental group. So, Sarge, we're glad that you were able to lift yourself up off the ashes to join us. We'll try to take it easy on you, brother.
I don't know about that, because I don't think any sort of human being could leave Across the Spider-Verse without 1,000,000,005 emotions, thoughts ripping through their heads. The one thing I will say out of the gate, Across the Spider-Verse has teed up potentially what could wind up being the greatest comic book movie trilogy of all time, which it makes me very nervous for the final installment, because I think it has set up. Part 1 is one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. Part 2, one of my favorite sequels of all time. And John, I think you kind of you teased it and already addressed it appropriately, but I want to just backpedal a bit. There are some people that's saying that this movie is all show and no go. What they don't realize in saying that is by calling out the fact that this is one of the most beautiful films, in my estimation.
It's
this
gorgeous
is one of the
to look
most
at.
Beautiful. I don't need to preface it with animated. This film is absolutely
It's just, yeah.
gorgeous. It is undeniable.
It's beautiful. This movie is 1984 era Christy Brinkley. This movie is dope as fuck, perky in all the spots that you need it to be. It's outstanding. It's just outstanding. Now, I do want to address real quickly before we go into some of the deep fucking dive stuff. Just to kind of, again, go backwards a little bit to what you touched on, like the all show no go type of blah blah blah. You guys got to keep in mind where this movie is coming from, right? This movie is coming from minds that are not currently in the weeds, so to speak, with everything happening over at official Marvel Studios. So they're able to step out, right? They're able to step outside to break the boundaries, get out of the box. They're able to do certain things, both story, narrative, and visually, that they just like, this is going to look best. You want a little combination of live action and super crazy animation style? You got it. You want to do like mixed media art styles? Knock yourself fucking silly. It was truly one of those situations where I sat there, Charlie, as a comic book head, and thought, fuck, I don't know what's going to come next. And any movie that you're going to sit down and watch, whether it's a horror movie, a drama, a sick fucking TV series like a Succession, in effect, you're kind of just in guest mode the entire time. That's where I was with this flick, Charlie. So on top of all of the amazing illustration styles and, again, the flash of it all, not that flash, the flash of it all was not lost on me. But I sat back like, oh, well, I had a giant bucket of popcorn, but I sat back largely like, they are doing right now what you're supposed to do with a comic book flick. They're not supposed to seem like a color photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. That's the furthest thing that this movie could possibly be. Now, I was not in the Charlie world of like stacking, okay, this is almost bad, then the other one, and this is the treat sequence
like
gonna be this. I get it, but I will say this to accommodate my beautiful baby brother. One of the admittedly very short list of flicks that, in this guy's opinion, the sequel is better than the original.
Wow!
I don't normally do it. But
unexpected?
When this shit happens,
beautiful.
When this shit happens, it's worth mentioning. I truly believe, much in the way that Empire Strikes Back is better than A New Hope. Debatably,
this bitch just likes downer endings.
You're not entirely wrong, man. I like a little realism with my fantasy. Debatably, Godfather 2 is maybe even better than Godfather 1. Like, it's not entirely unprecedented, but this absolutely...
Son of the Mask is better than The Mask.
All right, folks. Thank you for coming out. It's been nice to know you. I'm going to go end it all. Charlie blew it. Thanks, guys.
John, again, I'm not afraid of spoilers. You get back here. This movie made all the money, I imagine. The word is out on most of the secrets. I do want to say this. I don't necessarily want to talk specifically spoilers. I want to talk about little things that I read, both good and bad. And I'm very curious your opinion. One thing that became abundantly clear moments into the flick is there is Retcon City. They have taken what was, I imagine, intended as a standalone movie that did fine at the box office, but it really came to life at the home video level. This became very much the go-to.
The home
I'm sorry. So like when you download movies to watch on your plasma. No, but SpiderVerse, even though it clearly teased that these characters had more to do, I don't believe originally this was written as a trilogy, and you kind of see it right away. They changed the design of Spider-Man 2099. They change a flashback sequence. They extend Gwen's kind of origin, her tragedy that occurred in her young, adventurous life. Her Peter Parker was de-aged and put a goddamn shirt on. Are you I always thought that I was a little bit more forgiving of when movies do retcon so blatantly.
Yeah.
And in my head, that would be something that you would very much roll your eyes at or think it's a fucking cop-out. So right out of the gate, my hard question for you to start this fucking topic basically with was, did that bother you at all? Did you notice it at all? Did you give a fuck at all that they have already come out the gate and be like, we're retconning as necessary?
Yeah, it didn't bother me. Just to kind of go down in reverse order, I did notice certain moves, so to speak, but this is kind of uncharted territory, where you're dabbling in a world where they start off by saying everything you thought you didn't know shit. We electively choose and we retain the right, and we are gonna use it to fucking change shit as we go. All the time travel movies that we've had kind of like heaped on our lap recently have established that well in hand, and especially with the multi realities, the concurrent multiverse stories that we're getting kind of bombarded with right now. Obviously, Marvel's done it. SpiderVerse is doing it. Fucking DC is naturally doing it huge as their literal flashpoint for this new era of the DC properties. That's kind of desensitized me to it. Where if we were going from Godfather 1 into Godfather 2 and there was a different actor playing Sonny, I'd be like, first and first, mostly he's dead. Why is he even here right now? But yeah, no, that would affect me way more. Here they have all the latitude in the world.
The other thing, because for me personally, I realized I didn't drop my opinion. For me, it's whatever, and this is going to sound hypocritical because I've been on record that I too think it's sometimes very, very lazy when someone changes something for the shits and giggles of it. One thing that has always bothered me is this constant new toy suit thing that Marvel has become so notorious for. We're like,
sure,
we got to change the look. Doesn't matter if the story calls for it. It doesn't even matter if there is.
They're just very good at it now. Like
that's a very,
written
very
in ink.
Valid and good point. With this though, there was no change that I felt like could have been unjustified because this movie was pieced so beautifully together. The other thing I really loved about it was, despite some of those changes, there are some things that when they wrote the first Spider-Verse flick that they clearly knew. And in hindsight, them playing with colors, them playing with setups, them playing with staging is just so chef's kiss wonderful that they would get 30 passes before. You could have changed Spider-Man 2099 into a totally different one of his costumes. You could have made it like a clone of the Irish half
Slow
became
down,
a clone.
slow
Fair
down.
enough.
Don't use the C word willy-nilly like that, bro.
I'm all filled with my Ben Reilly joy.
I get it. Your fucking your web juice is like filled to brim. I do want to say this though before we get too far away from it.
Yeah.
They didn't change anything without addressing the change. They didn't try to like slip one by the goaltender.
Yeah.
Because he was kind of like, his head was off in the clouds and the 5-hole was fucking left wide open like 7-Eleven on prom night. They didn't do that. I will say that all the changes they made, they deemed to be necessary. So even if they didn't hammer it home, the way that they were changing it, it was clear the why they were changing it. So that's perfectly fine for me. I immediately got thrown off by Joker's stream. Joker coming in with the heresy. Ben Reilly needs a full clone storyline run. I'll give you this one, Joker.
The real Spider-Man, goddammit.
So, actually, let me confirm it. Let me confirm it as we speak. Because this movie was chock full of, who is that? Like, as much as I was very, very much following kind of like everything that was going on and making mental notes, fighting because it was a long day to keep my eyeballs wide open. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't Ben fucking Andy Samberg?
Correct. At any point,
Nice.
Ben Reilly could fall down a hill for an ungodly long amount of time wearing a cape because in
Ben
fact,
Reilly's gonna go to the woods and just punch out his emotions.
I have to be honest, for those of you that haven't seen one of Andy Samberg and the Lonely Island's earliest flicks, Hot Rod,
fucking
do
Hot
yourself
Rod,
a
man.
favor.
Hot
Consider
Rod.
it.
One of the most criminally underrated fucking good time movies. That's all
I
I'm
now
gonna say.
think that
Good
might
time
be
movie.
that might be canonical with SpiderVerse if you do enough mental
shit.
Olympics.
If
The
there
mustache-
was if there was a fucking radiated spider that was able to bite Andy Samberg at approximately 80 miles an hour as he is just ass over elbows down the fucking mountain, then that spider deserves it. Like, he deserves that win.
I agree. John, I want to talk to you about one more quasi-controversy, and then obviously throw in whatever you want, and then I have one more after that. But there were some people really thrown off by the implication of a Roger Rabbit scenario. They do use some live-action clips in SpiderVerse. Now, even before I kick it to you, I'm going to immediately throw you what my reading was in real time. In this flick, you see some of the old flicks in live action. There is a wonderful, wonderful cameo by one of my favorite rappers of all time. Not only comedians, not only actors, but Donald Glover, Childish Gambino himself, as a live action prowler caught by the Spider Society or whatever the fuck they called themselves. To me, because of the way this flick set itself up, I imagine most people, when you arrive in a different part of the Spider-Verse, you just match the aesthetic of their universe. The example I use, Gwen Stacy's world is shown in beautiful watercolor in the first flick, and in this flick, when she's in any other universe, it's not like she's randomly watercolor. She, for the most part, conforms. With that being said, Spider-Ham, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Ham's a fucking cartoon in any universe, and Spider-Man Noir is in black and white. Now, given you can accomplish that with spray paint if you're feeling froggy enough and, God willing, wearing a mask. So for me, when you see a caged Childish Gambino who's played by a human actor in a cartoon, I imagine if you take down that fucking shield, he would also be animated. That was my read. More importantly than that read, though, I don't give a fuck, I want Donald Glover live and in living color for this cameo was kind of the most important thing. John, do you think what they were trying to say with that cameo was that some universes are 3D and some are 2D, 3D hybrids, and we had a Roger Rabbit scenario when they hunted him? It was like a human being chased by CG cartoons? Or did you, in real time, you're like, who gives a fuck? Because that's kind of my real emotion, but I a little bit give a fuck about everything. What was your read on the Roger Rabbit of it all?
You know what's funny is I didn't really put that much thought into it. I thought it was definitely neat to see. And in terms of kind of like the distinct styles and more specifically how the styles differ from one another, I think it was mainly just really done. I'm putting my director/creator hat on. I think it was just mainly done to kind of get across the point that, like, these shits are different, right? Because if you had two styles of Spider-Man that were pretty close to each other, and they were drawn in the same style, but they were from actual different realities, how the fuck would you ever know? How would you ever know?
You bring up a good point.
Yeah,
that's a big complaint I have with Multiverse of Madness. They all fucking match. Who gives a fuck that they're in a different color suit?
I mean, it's the same costume department there in a Multiverse of Madness, and clearly they did. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, there actually was one animated segment that they kind of like crashed through.
Yeah, like the weird paint world.
I haven't really done the proper rewatch with the pen and pad in hand, but I very much enjoyed it. I also like Donald Glover, the actor. To refer to him, however, you millennial fuck, as one of my favorite rappers, I want to send Rakim over to your house right now and just slap the tits out of you. Oh my god.
Who's Rakim? He play sports or something?
I'll tell you this. First of all,
What's
racist.
his first name? What's Rakim's first name?
He's like Madonna, bro. One name is all you need. If he did play sports, he'd be the fucking greatest. And if he was Prowler, Spider-Man in any multiverse wouldn't have a shot. Rakim is no fucking joke, son. We'll tell you all about it. But no, I very much enjoyed Donald Glover's performance in pretty much everything. He's great. He's just fucking great. And I really did like the homage to the... And clearly Spider-Man has been very much intertwined with the multiverse by definition of the term. There's just so damn many of them. There's just so many of them. I do want to say this. In terms of the live action of it all, we were automatically talking about, like, well, now they've almost gotten like a... It's not even a green light. It's a mandatory. You have to fucking roll off the starting line now. You have to give us a live action Miles Morales and tagging right alongside a live action Spider-Gwen, which I don't particularly agree with. But then I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was a certain Charles Gilbert Rivera who was like, nah, she's gotta be the Huntress actress. It's gotta be a fucking little baby Hawkeye girl face.
First
and
of
I
all,
don't agree.
Those are two different characters, and I didn't say that that's what it has to be. I said that's what they're...
Can we just say that
what they're doing.
My impersonation of Charlie is dead on. That is
terrible.
That is... People would not even know the difference.
First of all,
I'm Charlie. John's the best big brother. That's... Come on, bro.
No one can even hear
dead ringer.
The crushing depression in your voice. Like, that's what the key is. With Arnold, it's that he loves Mexican poontang. With Charlie, it's that he hates everything. Up to and excluding Mexican poontang. John, who I hate to do it to you, but you were so nice that you kind of already broke a rule. So I'm going to ask you to break another. Who was your favorite non-Miles Morales Spider fella or felleress that you saw or was featured in across the Spider-Verse? Who won your heart? Who would be the character that you want them to dive more into? If John was going to be the one to greenlight the next spin-off flick, who do you want on the front cover?
Now, does it need to be animated, or does it need to be live action, or can be like charcoal drawings if I wanted?
Which character from this flick just moved you enough that you want more in any format?
Well, I'll say this. Now, you know, my comic book heyday, where I was kind of like making sure that I read any fucking thing that came out, at least the number ones. Both companies kind of went through that phase of, oh, here's the future version of these characters outside of the normal continuity. And one of them, which absolutely never really caught my attention and kept it for more than a few seconds, was Batman Beyond. I'm sorry, I meant Spider-Man 2099. Because I picked up... I didn't get much past the cover. I'm like, oh, Batman Beyond? All right, let's read it. And that's always kind of how it played to me. I was not particularly caught up.
He precedes Batman Beyond, though, I believe.
Yeah, but conceptually. I mean, you might be very much right. But, like, that thought of... Well, I'll give you another one. Fucking the Robin, the standalone Robin series. We're like, oh, and now Batman is in the middle of he's like a terrorist. He's fighting the fucking patriarchy and I'm like, oh God, how many of these, Charlie? That's how many of them there were. I'm like, I don't even fucking know which ones came before the others because in effect they're all interchangeable. However, it never really kind of caught or kept my attention because I'm not a mark. Right, I'm not a fucking pushover sucker that because I have a vowel at the end of my last name, I have to say, oh, I'm gonna pull all my hair out. They have a half Hispanic Spider-Man. That means I need to go up and clear the shelves. No, it don't, because my money is green and I fucking work hard for it. So I'm only gonna read what I likes, not who has a similar sounding fucking name to me. You dumb publishers. So the fact that he's fucking like Speedy Gonzalez O'Hare, I'm like, it doesn't matter really to me if the character is not compelling. And truth be told, Charlie, up until that point, I did not find the character that compelling. Now I do. Now I do. Now they put the shine on, so I'll pick up. I'll pick up a Spider-Man 2099 book and fucking read it, and I'll buy the pop and I'll get the T-shirt and all that jazz. I'll get the underoos, the sheets, the whole Megillah. Did you have one in particular that kind of sunk his little spiky fingertips into you?
Yeah, and I have to confess, I almost said recovering, but that's not true. I fucking hate Peter Parker. The one exception to that rule is Peter B. Parker, who's my homeboy. So I was not a fan.
Can I ask a favor really quick before you fill in that blank?
I think I figured it out, if that's the question.
If that's the tact that you're going to take, we're like, I like every ice cream flavor ever except vanilla. Vanilla was the first, motherfucker. You got to appreciate it. So you can say, I hate Peter Parker as long as it's prefaced with, I hate the original Spider without whom none of this would be possible, Peter Parker, ... So
we have to
listeners and viewers,
shortening that?
we can do an abbreviation. We can do whatever you want to do, but we'll work it out by the next episode.
We'll figure it out. But
these motherfuckers are gonna hold you to it.
I was not a huge fan of the SpiderVerse comic, which I'm actually very, very curious to go back and explore, because now I have kind of an affinity.
Is your answer gonna be all of them?
No.
I originally hated all these motherfuckers, but now I love all these motherfuckers.
No, but for me, the big standout is the one who's the most violent. He has spikes on his head, and he's not afraid to headbutt you with them. Dude, fucking Spider-Punk himself, Hobie Brown.
He's dope, man. Dope.
Just fucking crushed it. Fun fact, though, in preparation of today's... Thank you, Ellis. I agree with Ellis for once. Who said Ben Reilly's the original Spider-Man. God damn it. I'm sticking to that continuity.
In all fairness, Ellis didn't curse, but yeah, you got the right idea.
No, he said shit, fuck, motherfucker, bang, bang. Ben Reilly was the first Spider-Man. That is a quote, John.
Fair enough.
But my favorite thing about Hobie Brown was truly the most visually stunning thing in a film that was beyond visually stunning.
That he could fit all that hair under that mask.
Well, that's just a fucking cool superpower. But the thing I found out doing research for this episode, do you know he is not a Spider-Man variant? He's not a Peter Parker variant. Or I guess not. There must be black Peter Parkers somewhere in the Spider-Verse. But he's a Prowler variant.
I did not know that.
And the fact that that's apparently awesome. A big deal. I'm like, I cannot wait to dive. Now, you and I had this conversation. We can't wait to return to the theaters to see it again on that massive screen before it comes home to our pretty big fucking screens.
Yeah, you have a massive screen in your house.
And I'm going to sit right up close to it, so I'm in the cheap seats. The biggest takeaway from this flick, and the last kind of controversy before we wrap up the segment, John, some people's criticism of this film is that it is a 2.5 hour long part one. They all have the same they all have the same asterisk they throw up, though. There's nothing really to cut out. Considering we are getting the next Spider-Verse film to complete this trilogy in about a year, were you, at the end of this film, satisfied by a cliffhanger?
Of course.
Because this film very much... Thank you. I just want to make sure... I know how much you love Empire, which ends in a fucking total bummer. This goes one step further by kind of rocking your world with almost the beginning of what will probably be another 2.5 hour
That's
flick.
fine, as long as it's at this level. That's my big issue with either long flicks or cliffhanger endings or, like, again, fill in the fucking blank. Most things that people, because I don't know, it might be AI just fucking with us, but like people, critics, naysayers, haters, whatever you want to call them, if the movie is dope to watch, it's dope to fucking watch. Beginning, middle, and end. Yeah, granted, you might have certain sections that are preferable than others. I love this. I didn't like that. This was okay. It's not the parts. It's the fucking whole. You know what I'm saying? Like the entire thing. If the entire thing was tight, then it's gonna be enjoyable for all parties concerned, and I'll stick with that. Yeah, no, I think that's kind of like a silly, fucking, problem to have with any kind of piece of art. Now, I will say this: people who live objectively in the fucking real world and they know things like shit. There's a writer's strike going on. When will we get this culmination? That's a legitimate concern. That's the I love this so much. When are we gonna get this last component? I had a thought that we never really fucking got to when we were having our series conversation. Like, is it better to binge certain series, or is it better to kind of like watch it piecemeal as it comes out, little chunks, whatever the case might be? I will say this: if a series has a big block of run in front of it, I think it's actually preferable to have one on deck, right? Like, so you love this show so much, or this movie, whatever the case might be, series of movies, whatever. You set yourself up for success if you have several installations to get to, right? Because we will come from this place where, let's take Sopranos, just because I'm in the middle of maybe a 10th rewatch, where certain episodes I'm like, fuck this episode, I know it. I can skip right past it. But I remember when it was happening, or something like very recently, the most recent season of what the fuck is it called?
Succession?
Not Succession, but Succession in Star Wars land. It is
Mandalorian.
Grogu Mandalorian. So people took umbrage with the season, kind of like as a whole, but even more particular, more episode by episode. And the issue there was, if you wait a full week to watch what is one of your favorite shows, and the particular episode wasn't one of their strong ones, you're pissed. And an episode that you might have given a B- to, in your mind is like, fuck, I waited a whole week to get here. Now I gotta wait another whole week to get to the next D+. Like, it affects the way that you receive this content. So the only possible pass that I can give those dum-dums were like, what cliffhanger? I need to be satisfied right now. I don't know why that sounded very much like my Charlie impersonation, but it still did. That might be the case, because that I did have that thought also as we walked out to the car to the Ecto. I was like, shit, we gotta wait so fucking long. Potentially, hopefully the strike is over very quickly and they can get right back to work. Unless the threequel was already written and they can. I
believe it's literally almost done.
Oh, well then go fuck me. Then that's absolutely great news. 0 point on my part. You're welcome, America.
I still liked it. John, you know what I don't like? I don't like pieces of shit.
Fair enough, man. That is fair enough.
I don't like monsters, and I think truly, if you're one of these humbuggians who has the audacity to not fully appreciate #Humbugian.
Hashtag Humbugians. Fucking copyright trademark Charlie Rivera in care of USComics.
We are living in arguably the worst timeline, but it is one of the best movie seasons in recent history. If you don't run your ass out there and check out SpiderVerse have a hell of a time watching it, honestly, I'm not going to believe you, because I think you'll be playing the part of one George Toy Boy Lucas.
You are.
Because John, he's a liar.
He's a liar.
And I know that because Han shot
first, baby.
Take it up.
A salute. This one's for Primo Joey. What's up, Joey? Thanks for joining us, kid.
I didn't clean that glass.
Delicious. Oh, Charlie made a mixed drink out of the shot glass that he didn't clean from last week. Before we segue over, Charlie, I do want to ask you, only because I know we literally could have made a full episode out of Across the SpiderVerse, but I'm glad we didn't. When you were talking about, like, well, she's already cast. I'm speaking, of course, of Spider-Gwen, who is
Yes.
borderline Harley Quinn popular right now, or at least building. She's got that trajectory. And you were talking about like, well, no, she has to be Haley something. Is her name?
Seinfeld.
Not Seinfeld. That's
not Seinfeld.
That's
Steinfeld?
Jerry Steinfeld. It
Fucking
could be
Rivera, if I had my way.
Regardless, again, the lovely young lady from True Grit, and she was in the Hawkeye series for Christmas time, and what? Okay, so you would comfortably say you would double cast her in effect.
I'm not saying that.
So I am asking you.
I am against live action Spider-Gwen. We have a perfect fucking thing. Don't blow it.
Let's assume that Marvel just can't leave that money on the table. Marvel, Sony can't leave that money on the table.
If we want to put her in tights, I'm not going to say no.
Well, but you are now the power that bees. Who would you cast in that role?
The same person I would cast, believe it or not, for Miles Morales. Someone we haven't met yet. You need someone perfect for Spider-Gwen. We have the perfect voice actor right now. I do not think she lines up as the perfect actress to embody that role. I think
she might be a little bit too
she's old.
Voluptuous. She's
well, first and first, mostly now you're trying to convince me back into it. Now I just want to see her in the goddamn costume. You can't make me play against myself.
I will
bro.
take you off the hook. I'll take you off the hook because I have the answer.
Oh shit!
If you remember, we only kind of recently finished our obsession with Wednesday, the Wednesday Addams series, over on the Flicks of Net. But the little kid that played her bubbly werewolf friend,
that is great
Emma
casting.
Myers. Emma Myers would make a fucking outstanding Spider-Gwen. She has the hair chops. She has the look. She would be absolutely fantastic. So if she does get this casting, I at least expect a shout out. Ellis, you're more than welcome to fucking put him out there. You do as you do.
Ellis trying to push for Millie Bobby Brown. She's not going to break off her engagement for you, Ellis. You need to stop sending her those letters, bro.
You know what, bro? Nothing succeeds like excess. I say you start sending more, Ellis, and I will back you up in court if that comes to it.
If we're going to go, I'm going to over the top Charlie in full effect. Ellis, send her some hair. Doesn't have to be yours. She don't know you yet.
Too much Succession, Charlie. I'm going to be back over the top for my baby brother. And yeah, so and again, to put an exclamation mark on it, thus far, Across the Spider-Verse has made $221 million against the production budget of $100 million. Also, it has already beaten the lifetime earnings of Shazam 2, which is only right because Shazam was trash and this is gold. But that all being said,
I thought you kind of thought Shazam 2 was fine.
I didn't. It was fine to turn off. It stunk on ice.
You're thinking of Black Adam.
Also, as well as Black Adam. And also as well as Black Adam's nemesis is Shazam. It ain't Superman. Sorry, fucking Dwayne. Get back over to Fast and the Furious where you belong.
Enjoy Fast and Furious.
That all being said, yet another franchise that my man The Rock has tried his hardest to fuck with. Solid segue that time around. You know me, Charlie. I like to give credit where credit is due. So as I was kind of perusing the interwebs, one of my common stops is indeed Comic Book Resource, otherwise known as CBR.com, and I stumbled across, largely due to fantastic artwork, I must say, by an article, again, credit where credit's due, by G. Kendall, published only about 2 days ago on CBR.com, and the title of this article is "The Forgotten Revival of Marvel's Classic GiJoe Series," and I said, "Bird, I like Marvel's classic GiJoe series. I love the G.I. Joe. I particularly love Larry fucking Hama, who is just one of my absolute favorite writers, creators, every damn thing. Larry Hama, for anyone who doesn't know, wrote the famous profiles for these characters, expanded upon them within the Marvel comic series, and really took like a median level property in terms of the intellectual aspect of it all for children, and treated it like adult fucking fare. And to pick up a comic where people died, and in the cartoon, like, you could get shot by a laser in the face standing on the ground, and a parachute would still pop out, and you would float safely down somehow. He was killing people off in the comic. He treated it seriously, and that really translated to the children readers of the age. Now, when they do revivals of shit, when they bring stuff back into a familiar format, it doesn't always carry over. Like Charlie could tell you very much, like, say, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? They went from like murder machines to inflatable fucking puppy faces for Saturday morning, whereas here you had an adult sect of kind of hungry consumers. They wanted more of that fucking content, and after. And this is going back early 2000s. This is when this revival, now the nostalgia is really kicking in. And I believe that's the entire purpose of this series by, again, G. Kendall over on CBR.com. I think what they do is they look back on, like, they take the nostalgia aspect of it from, at this point, early 2000s, was a long time ago. Early 2000s is over fucking 20 years ago. And if at that... It's okay, Charlie. Don't be sad. Pick up that chin. Pick up that chin. Who my big boy? Who my big boy? Who my big boy?
I am.
So that's what they did, Charlie. They went back to the fucking well and they said, hey, G.I. Joe Extreme tried to kill it for Charlie's goofy generation. We're going to breathe fresh new life into it by reminding you why you loved it in the first fucking place. So they bring in Larry Hama naturally. But my man's a storyteller. And while he did fuck with some designs, and he's certainly a passable artist, he wasn't going to draw the book. Who did they bring in, Charlie? Two great tastes that taste great. I'm fighting a sneeze. That taste great together. You might remember my man from the Death of Superman, fucking Jurgens, bro. They bring in talent that even on a story that you may have hated because of what was happening in it, from in my perspective, the way that it was handled. Oh, just drop a giant, not Hulk, onto the fucking planet and destroy the greatest hero of all time. Super duper terrific. But it wasn't his fault. All he did was draw that shit, and he absolutely did so in such a way that people are like, well, I don't like what's happening, but I like the way it looks. That combination, Charlie, tickled me in a way that is illegal in like 42 states right now. I was so happy with it, and I was also guilty as charged. I fucking forgot it existed. So this is... properly, they're actually looking to reprint these now as trade paperbacks, which is just outstanding.
Fucking Rom starting a new trend.
Not sure.
Like, did you not read me or know about me? Hi. We're comic books you need to own, stupid.
Bunch of people know me, even though you don't. Just an outstanding way to tackle that material, man. And I fucking loved it. And you ever put on your coat, right? It's been a long summer. You're sweating buckets. Canada's wildfires just wrecking your day and your sinuses. You put on your winter coat in a few short months, and you find a $20 bill. Oh, yes! That $20 bill spends with the widest grin that you were ever gonna have on that day. That's how this was for me. Like, oh fuck, I remember this. I love the style of it. Again, the storytelling is mature and adult as G.I. Joe should be. I just fucking loved every minute of it. Now, I have to assume you've never seen hide nor hair of this shit, right?
No, I don't believe so.
we're gonna rectify all that, brother, because I'm indeed going to pick up this TPC and read the shit out of it.
The goddamn Jon library in Jersey is...
It's all right. It is all fucking right. So Charlie, as you having not read it, but I mean you've read the Larry Hama stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I remember I sent you a digital copy of my all-time favorite early Larry Hama comic for G.I. Joe, which is just outstanding. However, I'm sure that you have your own nostalgia pieces. Are there any that kind of like stick out for you as we're talking? I have a thought of what one might be for Charlie
I want to hear
Boy.
your theory. I want to hear your theory before I potentially ruin it.
So I know this kid. I know this kid. I know what he's gonna think before he thinks it. Someone can ask me what his opinion is, and it's some shit that he hasn't even heard yet. And I'm like, he's gonna think this. And fucking in the isolation chamber, Charlie will come up like, what Jon said. I'm gonna go with Gargoyles.
Fuck
because Gargoyles for Charlie on the come up, just as a wide-eyed little, chubby cheek little baby face. This is before the heel turn. Charlie was all about Gargoyles, and you know why? Fucking Gargoyles was dope. Gargoyles was the level of awesome that Disney was like, yeah, that's almost too good. I don't know if we should put our name on it because it is mature. It is fucking complicated.
Well, but that's the draw.
We'll pay for it.
When you're young, when you're on the come up, and someone starts to talk to you like an adult.
Yes.
Right? It was always the appeal of sports. It's like I could have fucking wound up loving fucking field hockey if the right coach was like, this shit's dope and these skirts make your legs look great. There's something to be said about this material that just in hindsight, it still has plenty of its like for kids cheesy nonsense. There's always the character that he just loves eating junk food, Jon. But then simultaneous, they're like, you want to see the underboob of this gargoyle chick as she tries to decapitate the hero? Because they used to smash, but now they don't smash. But he still wants to smash, but now she's not going to smash. You're like, what the fuck does smash mean?
That's actually,
and why are her underboobs so prevalent?
It's a little too close to real life. I'm like, oh man, dude, trust me. You do not want any piece of this. Don't get suckered in. There's not a lot.
There's not a lot I know about me, Jon, but I do know I am game for every Desdemona that is available in the tri-state area.
All right, why not?
Yeah, have you seen that underboob, bro? You got to think, Jon. Sometimes you got to get shot by a laser. It's fucking fine.
I get it.
No, Gargoyles is probably my number one go-to nostalgia heavy happy. Because again, it truly was probably the second most mature thing I was introduced to. The one that was kind of on the tip of my tongue, and it's ironic because there have been so many great robot type shows where these robots, either you get a bunch of little robots and you make them a big robot. Just today, previews or early screenings of the new Transformer, Rise of the Beast, clearly taking characters from Beast Wars. But Jon, it wasn't robots that got me obsessed with sci-fi fantasy when I was young. It was mechs, though, because fucking not Robotech, because that was before my time, although I did love the toys come Christmas.
Macross, respect, bro. Come on.
Fair enough. But I'm talking about,
actually,
and the name is like currently it's running from me. But they had the Matrix plugs into their neck, and they had the big space fucking suits. It just left my brain as we were fucking rambling on.
Well, that's what rambling will often do. You talking about Exo Squad?
Exo Squad, thank you, Jon. You pay dividends daily, nightly, and ever so rarely. Jon, that shit was about genetic slaves that had an uprising, and we followed the enslavers as our protagonists. That shit, honestly, in real time, I remember being like...
Isn't that just a Matrix prequel?
It is 100% a Matrix prequel.
I mean, like, the actual fucking machines make their way into...
It's also like... it's
Matrix
almost
2.
like a fucking... It's a future version of fucking Roots at times. There is, John, it is such a fucking wonderful, wonderful story that managed to be 22-minute action fests. The fact that Exo Squad isn't a movie series right now is fucking astonishing to me. It doesn't make fucking sense. Tom Cruise, when he did Edge of fucking Tomorrow, because that's what I'm going to call it, although Live, Die, Repeat is the much better name that they should have fucking gone with. That shit uses Exo Squad shit, and it's excellent.
Exo Squad aesthetics are used so often. Everything from Alien to ¿cómo se llama? Avatar uses them shits. They're used Matrix. They're used all over the damn place. Now, granted, a mech suit isn't a particularly original concept, but like visually, some of these motherfuckers just look like straight up lifted off of the design sheets. But
they look like adaptations more than inspired by. And what I love about that, much like G.I. Joe, there are like levels you can go to if you want to. And I think that's really properties like this, properties like, Ninja Turtles in Reverse. What's amazing is they're kind of like Russian nesting dolls. Do you just want action and awesome characters and the one motherfucker has the side of his head shaved?
Correct.
Great. Do you want it to like talk about the political landscape of like, if you make a thing, is it yours? If you own a bunch of dogs, can you have them fight for money? Like, they're your dogs. Some of them only exist because of you. Oh, that's not good. What if you're following the good guys who are doing the bad thing, but for the right reason? Way before fucking, we were just watching the other day, Doogie Howser's in it. They play space football.
Starship Troopers.
Do
you get me?
The Starship Troopers is another one. You could watch that the way you watch Expendables, or you could take a beat to be like, they are mocking my enjoyment.
Oh yeah,
in real time.
How about the fact that they're not like cleverly, they're in your face. Like, here are Caucasians that live in Argentina. And anyone who's even watched like 5 minutes of the History Channel at some point around 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning knows all the Nazis went to Argentina. So here you have a very authoritarian fucking kind of like political spectrum. Like, well, if you're a citizen, then you can fucking vote and you get all those things. You got to serve to be a citizen. I'm like, yo, my man, Adolf, what is going on here? I thought we were watching a fun insect alien flick. They're like, no, there's more to it. And that really does kind of, if I'm not mistaken, that's based off of a series of books, or at least one book, which is fucking dynamic.
And
but
it's tremendous.
As my time fucking evaporates, I'm going to throw one out there, and I'm going to ask you to do the same. With the nostalgia fucking effect being in full swing right now, and the yes button being like almost stuck in that on position, they'll cancel you right away for any reason they want, but it'll still at least get a go. I want you to give me that fucking that reboot, that fucking revival, that whatever, that whatever, except that you indeed want to see. I don't know if you have one in the pipe, but I got one for you. And it actually does have a lot to do with Transformers, which Charlie had mentioned a few moments ago. Transformers, again, the real quick version. The Transformers, if at any point you had two Transformers in hand, you're like, well, they're both Transformers, and they have a sticker that I'm familiar with on them, and the same general concept. Oh, I get to change it from one thing to another. They are actually not the same. The Transformers made their way over from Japan as two distinct and very separate toy lines, which is the reason why you have a fucking gun, which is relatively small, going up against a fucking tractor trailer of an Optimus, and people are like, nah, it's fine. He'll grow and shrink it. What? What are you talking about? So, another transgression that the Transformers did was take advantage of the aforementioned Macross / Robotech drama that was going on. They're like, hey, you know what? We're going to call this motherfucker Starfire. No, you're not going to call him Starfire, even though I know you very much did, and slap an Autobot sticker on a jet, you dick. Fucking so what a lot of people know as Starfire is indeed a Veritech fighter from Robotech Macross. And they just fucking said, thank you for the design. We're going to go ahead and sell like 1 billion of them. And like, it became like a real issue between counterfeits, and like you think you're getting one thing, but you're getting another with the wrong head, and blah, 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 blah. The 80s were complicated for me, dude. However, with now the legalese being taken, Skyfire, thank you, Ellis, Skyfire. There we go. Yes, indeed, Skyfire, not Starfire. However, with the legal aspects of it now being kind of like put together, the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, we indeed now have finally a unified front. Charlie, it is an outstanding story. Just call it a story, because I read it in the manga. I also watched the cobbled together cartoon series growing up. It is so good that a live action adaptation, or even just another bite at the apple, where they can say, look, now we're going to go full steam ahead, full forward, and give you what we got. Charlie, it would be 100% a hit, and everyone can thank me now for what comes later. Do you have something like that?
You know, I'm going to change my answer just because you have such a clear banger on your hands. I want to
True that.
I want to subvert expectations.
All right.
I want something that I know will bring me great personal joy and will spark a fire that far too often goes unlit in my life. I generally don't give a fuck about pirates. Never did. When Peter Pan was like, I'm fighting Hook, I'm like, fuck Hook. Except, John, I'm desperate for them to bring back and tell in a full form, be it a movie, be it a new show, the Pirates of Darkwater.
Yes.
Come the fuck on, bro.
Darkwater was another one of those shits. I sat down next to Charlie. He had his little folding tray for his after-school little snacky poos. And we're watching this, and I'm thinking, I know it's animated. And I know it's on in the middle of the day. I don't know if my brother should be watching this. That show was fire, bro.
Could you imagine a For Us trilogy of films that finally finish that story, because that story never finishes in cartoon form? I think you have a safety net where you can change whatever the fuck you want, because there's 37 fans who give a fuck. I genuinely think it would be the perfect. I think it would be the perfect. It would be perfectly adaptable, because what you can do is you can take the core concept and expand and contrast any aspects you want. You don't want your villain to look so fucking over the top. That's fine. No one's really gonna give a fuck, because we're getting Pirates of Darkwater.
So
the
for
fucking teaser poster alone makes me
anyone
fucking
who's unfamiliar. The general premise, I just pulled this up off Wikipedia. Ren, the son of Dying Kid Primus of Octopon, dynamite name, sails around the alien world of Myrrh on a ship called the Wraith. I'm already way in. Searching for the 13 treasures of Rule. His loyal crew of misfits that help Ren on his journey are the Echomancer Tula, a monkey bird Niddler. You shut up, you.
Fuck yeah, Niddler.
Who else? And the treasure-hungry pirate Laz, or LOZ for those social media fucking familiar. Ren's opponent in his quest is the pirate Bluff of the warship the Maelstrom, who will stop at nothing to get the treasures for himself. Dude, fuck Pirates of the Caribbean. This is the new Black Sails that needs to happen right now. Charlie was dead on. And just to address Ellis's comment from an earlier topic, Macross could not be faithfully remade today. Hikaru is really sexist, and that's fine because it's in the 80s way. I'm gonna say to Ellis, they'll just pull a fucking who's what's it's with Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica, and just be like, well, the character is female now, so it's totally fine. And this is one of the rare swaps that I'd be totally fine with, because it means I'm gonna get Mime Cross Robotech. But with that all being said, Charlie, we put a lot of money out there, fucking a lot of offers on the table. We have high expectations, and they got to make their money too, just like us. So, Charlie, why don't you tell the good boys and girls how it is exactly that we paid them bills? Would you?
John, you know I love mobile games, so today we're brought to you... No, fucking course, we're not brought to you by some bullshit mobile game, because we're not some shitty fucking billion-dollar podcast that has hundreds of millions of views and still sell their fucking soul for some random brand that's willing to pay. No. Today we are once again brought to you by one of our absolute favorite bands, Bad Mary. You heard them there in the intro. You're going to hear them again at the end of the show. If you're wondering where else you can catch their act, you can follow them at Bad Mary Band across all social media platforms. You can support them over on patreon.com/Bad Mary. You can stay up to date at badmary.com for merch and upcoming performances. But my favorite part is that they're fucking in Japan, just living the goddamn dream, but also their entire discography, including their brand new LP, is available right now across all music streaming services.
Hell yes, but that still leaves the question, begs, dare I say, where we dropping with Sergeant Finesse. You can find him at Currently Gaming, still as a partner on Facebook, but he's spending more and more time over on Kick.com. Multiple streams every day, outstanding video game content, supporter games, co-streams, giveaways, contests. Don't be a sucker. Check him out today. He is currently laid up with some dental activity that happened today during the day, so we send best wishes to Sarge out for a very, very quick and full fucking re-healthification. Also, as well as we shouted him out before, we're going to do it again, a constant supporter of this show in all of its formats. Fucking Jokers _ Joker is no joke. You can also find Joker. Yeah, Joker. We see you, baby. Jokers _stream_ I should say. You can find him indeed on Twitch. Also, as well as you can find him on Kick. He's kicking up a lot of attention, and rightfully so. He's an outstanding gamer. He's crazy entertaining. He fucking does cosplay like that is just fucking Comic-Con worthy, as he's just sitting there with the kiddos and the dogs, and like he's doing it for you. So check him out on either Twitch or on Kick. Do yourself a favor, and you're welcome. Now, Charlie.
Yes.
Charlie.
Yes.
Charlie.
Yes.
I do gotta ask you, man, because there are certain things that fire up this kid, and it's not always where Bad Mary is in the world. It's not always fucking dum-dums with dumb things to say on dumb platforms. No. Sometimes it's some shit where he says, "Hey, John, I feel this way," back. And I say, "Well, Charlie, you know what? I actually agree with you right now. So please help the good folks at home. Let us know what is grinding your gears."
And fucking grinding my gears, indeed. First, though, I need to preface things, because we talk about it on the show all the time. When someone does a review of a movie they hate, they leave out the most important thing. Oh, you don't like Dark Knight? What the fuck Batman do you like? Because if your answer is End Robin, you're a fucking contrarian douchebag, and I hate you. So I do feel it is vital for me to explain something, and that is, I do in fact love music about fucking. So when you tell me Kiss has all of their discography about smashing, Love Gun is his cock, I fucking broke the code. I have absolutely enjoyed some Kiss music. Do I think at 106 years old they should still be rocking platforms and makeup? You know what? I do, because I'm not a hypocrite, and I love Sting in AEW, so feel free to prance around the stage in your high heels, you little ninnies. But John, what I don't like is people with all the shortcuts, right? You're Gene Simmons. You can do anything you want, including
with that tongue?
A fucking... Yeah, nice.
You can,
including
sure.
make a comic book I haven't read that, to be fair, I shouldn't judge until I do, but his comic book dominatrix is making the interview rounds because it's about she hurts you, but you pay for it. Fucking asshole.
Yeah, man. We
but
had
I digress.
Craigslist. It's not a new concept.
He felt the fucking need to talk about the problem with Superman. And John, today to wrap up this episode, I want to talk about the problem with Superman. That's right. I'm putting a hat on a hat, motherfuckers, because the problem ain't the Man of Steel, just trying to smash a purple-eyed lady. No,
He's only
sir.
human. Oh, wait.
The problem is you people who think there's a problem with our favorite Boy Scout. John, I'm fresh off of the hour and a half viewing of Max Landis's Just for Fun YouTube experimental video where he continues his epic Superman tale that started with American Alien, a DC published comic that kind of put Superman in today's timeline with all the Max Landisian idiosyncrasies, right? What if Superman were really Clark and then they act as Superman is kind of the 10-cent premise that I've assigned to it. And in every single way, Max Landis has made every wrong decision about what I think about Superman, but he did it in a fucking tremendous way. Check it out on his YouTube today. You can just go to Max Landis on YouTube. It's fucking awesome. Even if you hate it, again, I hate the ideas. I love the execution.
The presentation, though, the way that Max tells you what he's seeing, you don't have to always agree with the fact that oh, that would be great, but it's entertaining as fuck, man. Jesus Christ, and the price is right.
Yeah, and also ultimately, what Max Landis proves is he knows fundamentally what Richard Donner knew, what you and I know, what someone like, I'd argue, Zack Snyder didn't know, what Homeboy from Kiss doesn't know, is that Superman isn't just some maxed out stats, everything works out great for me, he's fucking so good, everyone loves him. No, man, look at the environment. It's hard to get people to root for fucking Superman. So much so, the last time they brought him to the cinemas, motherfucker was never allowed to smile, had to watch his dad get eaten by a fucking storm. John, the problem is people think they know Superman, and they do not read Superman comics. They think they know Superman, and they're basing it on one random outing they may have had with the character. Listen, I could defend Smallville all day, and sometimes at Thanksgiving with my brother, I have to. But that ain't fucking Superman. That is fucking not... It doesn't encompass everything that Superman is. It's aspects. The Man of Steel movie, if you love the way he flies, that is absolutely an aspect. The motherfucker looks cool as shit. But that's not it. If you liked Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, with fucking Hottie McGee and I forget his first name.
And the girl that plays Lois.
Yeah, but exactly right. Or if you like fucking Superman and Lois, the current series, John... To know Superman is to love Superman. To know Superman is to know that, very similar to Spider-Man, with great power comes all the responsibility. The notion of, before I kick it to you, it's the thing you and I laugh at the most, is all of these mouth breathers are like, with enough preparation, Batman can defeat anyone. The minute that you have Superman want to kill Batman, the fight's over. Yeah. He fought himself in Superman 3, as Ellis pointed out, and it was excellent. In the middle of a total shitty film, there's this amazing drunk Superman scene. John, no one knows Superman, in my opinion, as well as you do. So I thought this topic specifically would be great to throw to you.
Yeah.
But before I get you kind of responding to the world's confusion about Superman, before I even want you to address fucking the demon from Kiss and his fucking nonsense that he's just an overpowered dummy, John, the most important thing, just like we talk about when we talk about movie reviews, John, why do you love Superman?
So that is not a simple answer, but I'm gonna do my very best to break it down to its larger points, right? First and foremost, I don't want to preamble what I'm going to talk about, the demon's take on it all. First of all, I don't think it's sincere, but he's an old man, so you kind of understand that a little bit. Um, the main reason I admire this character, it's above and beyond the actual way that he was created. It's above and beyond the thing that we're all here for, that he inspired. There's a bunch. There's a bunch. Oh, Demon Kaga, you come when you can. You come as you are. You're always welcome here. Thanks for joining us.
You're always welcome to come, says John
well,
Rivera.
well. I think that was like kind of assumed, wasn't it? But no, Charlie. The simple point of it is, I'm a person who I love. I love honesty, right, and openness. A pair of glasses hiding your identity notwithstanding. But I also very much, as well as, hate bullies. I fucking hate bullies. And a bully will bully because they're able to. Right? That's like the main thing about it. A bully isn't a bully if they're going to get their ass kicked or if they're going to get fucking stepped on or pushed back on. They're relatively, I want to say smart, but they're like wily in that way. They pick and choose on whom they're going to bully. However, who the fuck would be the ultimate bully if not Kal-El of Krypton, Clark Kent of Earth? Like, if he fucking chose to push someone around, throw his weight around, ain't nobody gonna do anything about it. So much so that we have seen one after the other stories. Like, listen to this original idea. I'm looking at you, Homelander. I'm like, what if there was a bad Superman? Motherfucking DC has even like said, what if actual Superman, not an analog, but what if actual Superman was bad? We've gotten multiple fucking variations of it, but it's all, we know that it's fake because you see the red and the fucking blue and the gold and the S on the chest, and you're like, nope, this motherfucker's for me, because Superman could do anything. Superman can literally do anything on Earth. And what does he choose to do? Save motherfucking kittens from a tree. That's fucking, that's a hero, dude. Superman is the ultimate hero. He could go out, he could be the richest motherfucker on the planet. He works, he works on a regular 9 to 5. A regular Joe, as it were. He's just a good fucking guy. Superman's the easiest fucking character to root for. He just is. He just fucking is.
There's something about choice, right? The difference between a hero and a villain every single time, to me, has always been choice. Lex Luthor and Iron Man are basically the same character. One probably is more of an alcoholic, right? But what is the difference? Iron Man learned a lesson. There's something so fucking amazing about a character who's, and I know it's become kind of a joke the last few years. Batman lost his parents and was like, I would never want someone, he never mentions it.
What are you talking about? Talking about Martha?
He wants to make sure that no one experiences that sort of loss again. So much so he dresses like a fucking bat. Superman had his planet explode. And he was good way before learning, like, by the way, you're an alien and your shit blew up. He lost his dad. One of the most gut-wrenching scenes ever depicted, every time it's depicted, is little Clark going to Ma Kent, going, I can do all these things, and I couldn't do anything for my father. Are you fucking kidding me? On a long enough timeline, Superman's alone. And
potentially,
he knows it.
Potentially. Like, to look downwind, downfield rather, he kind of knows where it's going. And I don't mind giving this away. I kind of did so already on how about this? Jordan.
Oh, yes.
The friend of the show, Jordan and Mike of Bad Mary, Mike. I kind of put out there, like, as a mega Superman fan, what would my take on the franchise look like? And it was so simple for me because I know the character so well, but on the same token, as a comic book fan, I know this world in which we all live. And as much as I admire Max Landis and the work that he does and the work that he kind of gives away, the ideas he gives away, I'm going to take a page out of Max's book and I'll give this one away too. My Superman tales, like the Perry White and the Lois Lane and the Lana Lang beforehand, and his pal Jimmy Olsen and the whole Megillah there, they're not of this time. They're not for 2023. We have all this other stuff going on, which is interesting enough in its own right. And at this point, we now have a literal gaggle of superheroes that can do amazing things. So to take Superman and just make him one of this bunch and give him fucking like current day issues to contend with, I don't really think that that's very interesting. That's interesting in the sense of problem solving, because you say, well, if this is his nemesis and blah, 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 and how can glasses really hide who he is? Fuck all that. That's like some stupid posturing bullshit. That's not getting into the meat and potatoes of the character. The meat and the potatoes of the character, like I said before, was he can logically do anything he wants to in this world. He chooses to help you, you fucking no-chin having nothing. You're welcome. Root him on when he flies fucking by, because he's here to save the day. So, I would take that whole launching off point and I would take it out of 2020, 2023, and I would put it firmly someplace in the mid-50s. When, like, allegedly there were all these wonderful things going on, but there wasn't no Superman, right, in that version of the world. And then I would pepper in the rest of that DC world after the fact on a timeline that started back then. Not now. Not fucking now. We've got computer viruses to contend with and fucking worldwide pandemics. The fuck is Superman gonna do with that? Kill some germs? No. You put him in that timeline, closer probably to when he was originally conceived, and you give him like some fucking radio play shit to deal with. Give him a Lex Luthor that's a fucking white lab coat wearing scientist. Like, you put him in that area in which he was conceived and let him do those adventures. Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to have a Superman in your modern flicks. No, you're going to have one, though, that is decades and decades older, but he don't look much fucking older because Superman doesn't age like us normies. So you can have the same actor having those current adventures with the fucking JLA and the whole 9 yards there, but you have your standalone Superman franchise taking place decades and decades prior to that. Fucking, I think my first bad guy I was gonna give him lifted straight out of the name eludes me, but I'll think of it. The fucking Fleischer animated, which were dynamite. If you guys aren't familiar with the Fleischer animated Superman fucking shorts, they're awesome. I think one of his first ones, it wasn't Luthor, but it was a similar like mad scientist-y type. He fucking built these like dope ass fucking very much like a Tesla level type attack robots, and he's like, we're gonna send out these attack robots, and they had wings and they could fucking fight, and laser beams came out of the eyes and shit. He'd be like, it's gonna be like an alien invasion, but it wasn't an alien invasion, spoiler. It was actually this douchebag that invented him, and he just wanted to kind of like monetize that world defense. But Superman said, not on my watch, motherfucker, and he tore up those robots like you read about. Those are the type of adventures that the Big Blue Boy Scout just really excels at, because you don't have to worry about like, well, is he gonna fucking know how to address pronouns in this world? All the security footage, where's it gonna change? Like, there are all these modern aspects that don't belong anywhere really in a Superman level fucking spotlight type movie or franchise. However, you have him now. Now he's kind of like more of like a gruffer. The way that they tried to kind of paint him in the SpiderVerse, like he's kind of like, maybe he's edging on the side of cynical. He is alone because all those people that he loved decades and decades ago have now gone on and passed naturally. So he's just Superman. Clark Kent is in effect dead, and it's just Superman. And when you're filling a 2-hour movie and you have 57 fucking heroes, you're not gonna have a lot of character fucking development for just Superman, or really for any of the big ones. So they need those standalone stories to establish who they are. And it wouldn't leave us where we are now, where you say, oh, well, this character is just blah, blah, blah. Aquaman, he just talks to fishes. You're a fucking moron, and you probably can't read. Good news for you, though, comic books have pictures, so you almost don't even have to read. Learn who the character is before you have an opinion. Looking at you, Gene Simmons.
I love it. The one thing I want to add on, other than like, holy shit, let's fund the crap out of that. Ellis actually stumbled onto the other big thing. You described the Superman on...
The diner? Beating the shit out of the guy in the diner?
Well, because what you described was a Superman who's not held down by some of the Superman conceits. That, like, everyone would be like, well, that guy flies, can't be a normal jabron doing fucking the paper. No cell phones, all that shit you fix by kind of starting his story. But what... The only thing your story as of right now, and I'm sure it would in the details, the best part about a character like Superman isn't turning him bad. It's letting him have moments of naughty fun. So in Superman, other than that, because God, we know purple-eyed bitches are the best bitches. I
mean, fucking...
Oh God, I'm petrified.
No. I was gonna say, like, of all the aspects of Superman that become like so hard to believe, like you're like, well, all right, I'm gonna let this go. The purple eyes always throws me off. Lois with purple eyes, and they're like, oh, Elizabeth Taylor had purple eyes. Bullshit, bullshit. She did. Also, as well as she was not, forget about not Egyptian, certainly not fucking Mesopotamian, but. That's a conversation for another day.
In Superman 2, there's this amazing scene, the Richard Donner film that was then finished by someone who wasn't Richard Donner, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's this really...
The Donner edit?
The Donner cut and the regular cut has this amazing scene where Superman gives up his powers for love. Yeah, not something I approve of, but I allow it for the movie.
Also not something that really can be done, but...
Or makes sense.
I'm gonna follow that with the cellophane S on his chest.
Cellophane. Superman has cellophane. He goes to a diner. He gets slapped around by a bully. Gets his powers back.
In all fairness.
He goes back to that diner, and he absolutely ruins this guy's day. So much so, he knew he was going to fuck up this guy's life so much so, he brought extra cash to pay for the damage he knew he was going to cause. Because, John, it's okay that every now and then Batman smiles. It's okay every now and then that Superman fucking does something a little bit not cool. You do not need him to snap Zod's neck to have a moment of joy in his fucking life. You morons! Awesome. So I'm going to end it with this. My final thought on the subject is, in the event that this next at-bat that the DC cinematic world takes, if it doesn't go to plan, if you just want a whole second series, my brother works cheap. Dude. My brother...
I'm cheap in every way that is really fucking measurable.
It's last call, and John will go home with you, Warner Discovery.
Sure.
With that being said, though, don't you keep Superman's name out your motherfucking mouth if you don't know Superman. Because the problem with Superman is you ignoramus. With that being said, we want to know what you think about all of our topics today. We want to know what you thought about SpiderVerse. Is it truly the most boring but wonderful answer that Miles Morales and his cinema at-bats have completely outshined all the white Spider-Men you could find, including one Asian Spider-Man with a robot?
Is that even a worthwhile question, John would ask, because Charlie loves stirring the pot. Not that I do it, did I say?
Is G.I. Joe this untapped marvelous property that we just need more and more of. And of course, am I fucking totally an idiot when it comes to Superman and secretly Supreme is way better? I don't know, but John, there is one very specific way we end each and every episode of US Comics Cast. I'm going to tell them, but I need you to show them. John, are you ready to show the people how we do it?
Always.
First, we got to turn that power on. Then we got to turn the volume up. Then we got to tune Bad Mary and open up the window wide and scream out into the night sky, "Save my space, girl!"